Hello everyone, this is Mrs. Har. Welcome to our fourth week in Psychology 2. And we are wrapping up our last week on this whole unit that's focused on anxiety disorders, and they all respond from our fight or flight, the stress response that manifests itself in a clinical fashion. So this is our last week on these anxiety disorders, and we're going to look closely at classical conditioning versus operant conditioning. I know you guys remember from Psychology 1 and probably some of your sciences that you've done over the years is the Pavlov dog. That's classical conditioning. Pavlov's dog involuntarily would start to salivate when it heard a bell. So that's this involuntary response that can happen. And the dog's not going, ooh, I'm going to salivate. The dog just does it naturally. It's involuntary. Now, the difference with operant conditioning that Skinner brought up is that with operant conditioning, what you're looking is you're focused on reinforcement or punishment to increase or decrease a behavior. So it's more of a voluntary process. An association is formed between the behavior and the consequence for that behavior. For example, imagine a trainer is trying to teach a dog, not like Pavlov ringing the bell with the saliva. If a trainer is teaching a dog to fetch a ball, when the dog successfully does it and picks up the ball, the dog receives a reward. So the dog is volunteering doing this so that they can get a reward. So keep in mind, one of the simplest ways to keep the difference between classical and operant conditioning is to focus on whether the behavior is involuntary, which would be classical, or voluntary, which is operant. So just make sure that you kind of have that down in your head as we go forward. Today, both of these conditioning techniques are used for a variety of purposes by teachers, parents, psychologists, animal trainers, and so on and so forth. So you'll see a combination used, but make sure you understand as we talk about some of the treatment modalities, we'll really kind of focus on which type of conditioning process. Is it Pavlov style or Skinner style? So the rest of this week we're going to focus on looking at specific disorders and clinical manifestations of those orders, of those phobias. And there is a phobia just about out there for just about everything, you name it. There's one for thunder, there's one for sneezes, there's one for throw up, you name it. So we're going to look at the phobias and what makes them clinically considered and get a diagnosis to say that you have a distinct phobia. What, based on our DSM-4, our big manual that we use in psychology, what before a doctor can say, oh yeah, I'm going to diagnose you with this specific phobia, what clinical manifestations or symptoms they have to show. So we're going to look at that. Your assignment this week is actually to come up with phobia that you have not heard of. I give you the standard list of the ones we've mainly heard of, and come up with one, describe it, and describe what the clinical manifestations would, and name it. So kind of fun and creative this week. Let me know if you have questions or concerns. Otherwise, enjoy this week.